Now, this week, News Central hosted a pivotal town hall meeting that gathered thought leaders as well as activists and, not to forget, concerned citizens to discuss the state of Nigeria with a focus on governance, security, and the future of our democracy. Now, the conversation was both enlightening and urgent, featuring notable voices like Dele Farotimi to Obiageli Ezekwesili, who didn't hold back in their assessments of the challenges that we as Nigerians face.
So to help us unpack the key takeaways from the town hall, we have with us Martin Obono, the Executive Director of the TAP Initiative, an organization at the forefront of advocating for better governance and civic engagement in Nigeria. Mr. Obono, welcome on News or Breakfast Xtra. Well, that's where you are. Grant, it was good to see that you were at the town hall only just yesterday. So reflecting on the town hall meeting, what were some of the key issues discussed that you believe are most critical for Nigeria at this moment?
Thanks again for having me, and hello viewers. So some of the major issues and conversations that resonate with everybody in the meeting was the need for the government to end hunger. Virtually everybody reiterated the idea that Nigerians are hungry, people are dying of starvation and deprivation, and that the government has to do something. Another issue that resonated around the whole was also the need for consciousness to continue to be awakened so that government can actually take heed to people's plight and demands, and then reverse some of the policies that have brought about these unending sufferings and deprivations that Nigerians are going through and facing. So for me, these are the two key takeaways from the meeting, and there are no holds barred, because at the end of the day, everybody has also agreed and said that if the policies and the hunger continues in Nigeria, people are willing to hit the streets, and there is also no time limit that anything can happen. So bottom line, Nigeria is a ticking time bomb, and nobody knows when the next wave of protests will happen and how it's going to happen and where it's going to lead us.
I must ask you, you are part of TAP Initiative, which is one of our partners for this town hall. From your perspective at TAP Initiative, what specific actions are you as an organization or an initiative organization, CSO, advocating for to improve transparency and accountability in Nigeria's governance? Words that shouldn't be in the same sentence when it comes to Nigerian government.
I seem to have lost Martins there. Perhaps maybe it's the connection. We've been speaking with him from Abuja, where he joins us via video chat. Unfortunately, we've lost that connection. But you were asking him regarding the initiatives that, as well as the TAP initiative, I'm wondering what other bodies are also doing to help governments.
Oh, those codes as well, connected development. We saw Hamzat Lawal, who was also there with his microphone, talking about accountability and transparency. There are also other speakers. We also saw one of the prominent faces of the hashtag #EndBadGovernance there, see him there right there on the screen. He was also one of those contributing at the town hall meeting. I understand we have Martin's back on. Martin, you're back on. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. Apologies for the network disruption.
That's okay. Go ahead.
So I was saying that our organization basically is at the forefront of transparency and accountability in terms of judiciary, because there are quite a lot of things that you can actually seek accountability for in Nigeria. So what we have decided is to focus majorly on seeking some form of transparency and accountability from judicial officers, because at the end of the day, we know that the judiciary is extremely powerful. The judiciary can make anybody, can unmake anybody at any point in time. And for such an arm of government that is very powerful, we demand some level of accountability from that arm of government, from judicial appointment to interim judgments, to how they are also conducted and how they also uphold the code of ethics for judicial officers and how the remuneration of and welfare of judges, including staff and staff of judicial workers, actually, who are not on the bench, but just the clerks and the rest of them. So these are the kinds of things that we demand accountability for in Nigeria.
All right, then, Martins, I hear you when you say that Nigerians at the town hall were actually crying for food. Nigerians are hungry. How loud was the cry for security? However, as we can see in current weeks or recent weeks, we've seen plenty of cases of abductions. We've seen a resurgence of the Boko Haram instance. Was the cry for security as loud as that for hunger? And while you're answering that, how can Nigerian government actually help change or do anything about the insecurity that we're facing right now, from your opinion?
So I think that, yes, there were cries of people actually saying there is a level of insecurity in Nigeria. People talked about insecurity, talked about kidnappings and all that. But one of the things that I heard louder was hunger as well. I think that we need, as a country, we need to, first of all, place ourselves, the government now needs to not stop seeing itself as we against us. Nigerians, for us to deal with insecurity in Nigeria, we need to first of all come down from our high horses as government officials. Government officials need to come down from their high horses and then begin to win public trust and confidence. First of all, if they win public trust and confidence, Nigerians will relate easily with them as to what is happening and whatever suspicions they find in their environments and their communities. And this is the point where we also talk about the need for community policing and why state policing is also very essential and critical in our clients. So far, the same police who brutalizes you when you try to express yourself or exercise your freedom as a protester is not the same police I would trust with certain information, because I feel they can betray me, they can turn against me if I provide a certain kind of information. So what most Nigerians do is to look away. So until we begin to build public trust, the government officials, people in government begin to build public trust and look at Nigerians as Nigerians, just like Dele Farotimi said yesterday. We need to, first of all, understand that we are citizens and we are all together in nation building. But so far, government doesn't see us like that. People are crying for hunger. The president is buying private jets, buying yachts, having thousands of aides and hundreds of aides rather, and spending lavishly. National Assembly is budgeting for different things, buying new cars. And so there is no public trust, and Nigerians don't feel a sense of belonging in Nigeria. And so it's a country that feels that citizens feel like it's we against them, so let them do whatever they want to do. And so we are not building the country together. Nigerians, government officials don't build countries. It is Nigerians and the people, the citizens, that build the country. We are the ones who will say, okay, this is what you need to do. This is what you don't need to do. And I mean, it's just like the meeting we organized yesterday. I've had calls from people saying, Martin, how do people summon the courage to host this kind of meeting? Don't you know the government is going to come after you? But at the end of the day, people need to talk. So the moment people begin to feel like if we host and have conversations, government is going to come after us, there's going to be reprisal, then what you then realize is that what you get out of it is that citizens will hold back, people will hold back, and then just wait for the ticking bomb to explode, and then that's it. And this is one of the things that brings about the various kinds of insurgency groups that you have in Nigeria, all the way from the Boko Haram you mentioned, down to the ESN movement in the southeast, and what is happening in the north, in the southwest, and almost all over the country. So, because people feel they don't have a sense of belonging, government isn't listening to them, so they pick up arms and they begin to do terrible things and heinous crimes against the state.
Besides
to protect it.
Besides a lack of sense of belonging or the trust deficit between the government and the governance, what else is our biggest obstacle in achieving true democracy when it comes to our governance in Nigeria?
So I think one of that is also the kind of structure, the way elections are being done, elections are being conducted. INEC, for example, conducts an election, and when elections are over, the burden of proof shifts from the person who is supposed to be held accountable for whether or not elections were conducted truly and right, or and rightly or fairly, and then moves to the person who loses the election and says, "Oh, I have to prove that I won the elections." No. For our democracy to really, really thrive, once elections are conducted and won, INEC has to prove that they conducted the elections within within the confines of the law, and they did everything humanly possible to ensure that that election was free and fair, and they need to prove that to the people and to the judiciary in the court of law. Until we begin to get justice right, our democracy cannot be right. Until we begin to get the rule of law right, our democracy cannot be right. So until we switch that the burden, INEC needs to prove to citizens that the elections they conducted, or the elections they conducted actually, is free and fair, then we can begin from there. Until that structure is gotten right, I don't think we can get our democracy right.
Okay, Martins, let's talk about rights and protection. It was heavily discussed at the town hall yesterday. What are bodies like your body trying to do to help people with their rights when it comes to infringements that they may face from government or maybe the police, like we witnessed during the End Bad Governance protest?
So first off, we try to do sensitization to say these are your rights, because if you don't know your rights, that's when you don't even know when your rights are being abused. So one of the things we do is to sensitize Nigerians or young people and say, listen, you have the right to protest, you don't need police permits, according to the law. The Court of Appeal judgment in, I think it was IGP against the ANPP in 2008, where the court was clear about whether or not you need police permits to protest. So how do you behave yourself, conduct yourself during a protest and all that? So do you have a right to assemble? Yes, you do have a right to assemble. Do you have a right to protest? Yes, you do have a right to protest. So these are all the things that we basically put out there. Then another thing is, obviously, you always have reprisals. Police will definitely reach out to people and arrest people during protests that say they have committed one or two offenses. We also provide legal support to people who have had their rights infringed upon. So we go to police stations. During this protest, we were on the streets as well, trying to see how we can get people out. Currently, organizations like Hope Behind Bars is also helping to bring out young people who were also arrested underage people, not even young people, underage people. There were minors, over 20 of them that have been incarcerated. So organizations like that are working tirelessly to also ensure that they get people out of the police net and custody for exercising their rights. So these are the things that we also get dabbled into and get ourselves involved in.
And that's just brilliant. Well done with all the good work at TAP Initiative. And I must say now, with these conversations going on and still talks of, protests come October 1st, what would be your call to the government and also to the citizens as well, but mostly to the government? What would be your call to the government at this time?
So I think the government is saying don't protest, don't come out, and they are doing everything humanly possible to ensure that there is no protest. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board. And my advice to the government is that if the president made a decision and a pronouncement without thinking through the policy direction and the impact of that policy direction or the policy direction by saying subsidy is gone, if, as it clearly is a mistake, let him reverse it. It's as simple as that, because there is no way out. Let him reverse it. Let him reverse floating of the naira so that the economy can at least balance a little bit. And then Nigerians will not protest. That is the only way, and that is the only solution. You can't keep handing out, giving bags of rice. How many of us will the bag of rice get to? For example, how many are Nigerians? How many bags of rice can you possibly distribute to every home, and for how long? So the monies that are supposed to be used to do this palliative, Nigerians are not asking you for palliative. We are not beggars. We are not beggars. We are not asking anybody for palliative. We are not asking. Nigerians are not used to palliative. What Nigerians are asking is to provide an enabling environment for them to do business and thrive. And what is that enabling environment? Reverse subsidy. Nigerians are suffering. We cannot afford to be buying petrol at 900, 950, 750, as the case may be, depending on where you are. There is no equality. People want to survive. So let government reverse these very wicked policies that they have made, and then Nigerians will not protest. They won't even bother you about anything.
So, Martins,
so that is my advice to the government, because it looks like the government doesn't know what to do to stabilize the economy. Now, until you ensure that the policy is reversed, then go back, make the local refineries work, and then you can remove subsidy. Because now you can't remove subsidy, local refineries are not working, and then you expect the Naira to stabilize, and then you expect Nigerians not to suffer. No, it doesn't work that way.
No, they'll give you rice instead. They'll give you rice instead now. Come on now. How then can you win the jollof wars between Ghana and Nigeria?
She went there. I'm not with her now. But Martins, very important question here.
Expired rice for that matter.
Well, let's talk about the fact that as News Central and representing the press, we're doing our own bit as the fourth realm for the public now, and so are organizations like the TAP Initiative. But what else could more organizations do to actually bring to the fore these concerns and also these ills that have been committed against the people who are bold enough to express themselves?
So I want to use this medium to actually thank News Central. News Central, you're doing fantastic work as far as trying to represent the voice of the people on the streets. You are doing a very fantastic job. And I want to use this medium to also call on other news medium, to at least try as much as possible to try to pretend to represent Nigerians and the voices of the people and exactly what is happening on the streets. If most of the media organizations are doing what you are doing, I think Nigeria will be in a better place as far as information and having their voices heard is concerned. So for me, I think we need more of this, more organizations to be genuine in their cause, be truly what they're supposed to be the fourth realm, fourth estates. And so we need to really encourage more people to come out and speak up, have courage. You only die once. If they kill me today, that's the end of it. In 100 years' time, if I die, that will be the end of it. But there will be other people. So the point is that don't be afraid. Come out, express yourself, try to exercise your rights. As a human being, the only thing you have is your right. And that's why it is called human rights. And if those rights are taken away from you, you are not a human being anymore. You are an animal. So people need to understand that they have to, the only thing that they really have as a person is your right. And if you do not exercise those rights, you are not a human being.
And you also collect rice. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
So we should collect rice and rice.
Judy, stop.
I'm going to stop now. But Martins, I want to say thank you so much. Well done from all the hard work from yesterday. We want to say thank you so much. We hope that this will open up more conversations. We'll see more CSOs as well as NGOs come together, as well as human rights organizations come together, to collectively amplify the voices of the everyday Nigerian. Once again, Martins, many thanks. Martins Obono, he is the head there at TAP Initiative, and he joined us to talk about the News Central Town Hall meeting from yesterday.